So we're 5 minutes into a remote support call when someone dead seriously asks, what's a browser? Hello and welcome back to Karma Stories. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today we have a Xerox workflow that'll make you question reality, a lawyer who misplaced his phone, some world-class password deja vu, and a laptop fiasco that ends in a pink slip. Trust me, these tales are hilarious and horrifying. Quick heads up, you can now join the Karma crew. It isn't a badge, it's basically a backstage pass. You'll get custom Carmen emojis, a private Discord role, and first dibs on deep cut compilations before they hit the channel. Karma crew members also get access to stories that were just a bit too spicy to actually release to the public. There's already one up there, and it's a banger. To join the Karma crew, hit the join button down below the video on YouTube, and Carmen will definitely share the cookies if you do. Alright, on to today's stories, let's jump right in. This story comes to us from SetIcy438. From a dumb user, I applaud your ability to remain sane. During COVID, we were working from home. We had company laptops and could remotely log on to our work network securely. At some point, there was a required update. We were to read the user guide and sign up for a scheduled call, during which several of us would interact with tech support to make sure all went well. The user guide was 96 pages, which intimidated me until I opened it and discovered that each page was a screenshot and literally one step. Like a separate page to click the link, a page for open the pull-down menu, a page for which item to select from the menu. It was a work of art. I was in awe. So I started working my way through the directions. I got to about halfway before the call started. I told support what step I was on, and they said, "Great, let me know if you have any trouble." I muted my mic and kept working my way through the directions, while support spoke to the one other person on the call. "Okay, did you click the link in the email? Where is my email? Are you logged on to the network? How do I do that? Is your computer turned on? What do you see on your screen?" By this point, I had finished my install. I joined back in to verify that I had done everything correctly. Great, onward. Just before I exited the call, "Okay, open a tab in your browser." What's a browser? Friends, we had been working from home for several months. We all worked on computers when we had been in the office. I honestly don't know how that other user performed any of their job functions ever. It was a huge company, so I don't know what they were supposed to be doing. Anyways, anonymous tech support, I applaud your professionalism. What's a browser? Oh my gosh. Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called Rhoda. It says, "Me taking a deep breath, and prior to the death of Internet Explorer, after 40 minutes on a basic password reset call, the blue E, just click the blue E, for the love of all the gods who have forsaken us." User says, "Where's the purple Q?" Truly, some users are, you would struggle to pour water out of a boot with the instructions written on the heel. Okay, so obviously this person wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but there's also another thing to think about here. Many users would call the browser either Edge or Firefox or Chrome. The fact that it's a browser may not actually register with them. So when you say open your browser, they're going to be like, I don't know what that is. But if you say open Chrome, they might know exactly what to do. Or if you have a particularly inept user, just tell them to open the internet. I bet you they'll open the browser. Have you ever seen an office workflow so bonkers that someone literally prints a PDF just to scan it back into a PDF every single day? This story comes to us from Higher Octave, how the crazy process was simplified. Some time ago, I responded to a ticket from a small department saying that their Xerox DocuCenter had issues printing, which were affecting production. I talked to the team leader who submitted the ticket and told her the situation. I asked if I could just map another smaller printer in the department if anybody didn't have it already. She said that the Xerox had to be used for its ability to scan. I asked the team leader who I could talk to see their process, so that maybe I could come up with an alternative approach while waiting for Xerox to show up and repair the machine. She directed me to Lisa, who said, I receive a document from business admin, which I print to the Xerox. Then, on the Xerox, I scan that printout to PDF format. On my computer, I retrieve the PDF from my paperport queue. I then email that PDF to Files and New Business for archiving and processing. After a quick look, I learned this. The original document that business admin sends out is a PDF. I asked Lisa if she made any changes to the document before emailing it on, and she did not. I went back to the team leader and gently said that you're receiving a PDF document which Lisa does not edit or change in any way. To be clear, it is already a PDF. I have confirmed this. So there is absolutely no reason or need for all of the printing and scanning that Lisa is doing just to email out a PDF. Further, because it's already a PDF, business admin should simply mail it to Files and New Business themselves and not even bother you with it. The team leader chewed on that for something like 15 seconds and finally said, holy crap, this is what Rose told us to do when we took it over from Files because they couldn't handle the workload. We never thought about it or to question it. Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called Pants6000. It says, so many office processes are dead zombie children of people who don't work there anymore being unquestionably carried out by new people who don't understand why anything works the way it does. Another commenter down below called GeekGirl2000 said, I was a Xerox support tech in Wilsonville, Oregon. Crap machines, crap documentation, crap training. I was utterly unprepared to handle a lot. Plus, level 1 was outsourced, so we were escalated software support. Oh, and Kyle the supervisor was a complete dick. Wait a minute, OP, you told them they were doing something wrong and somebody there actually listened to you and realized that they were actually doing it wrong? That doesn't happen very often in these stories. Oh my, IT would be a wonderful job if it wasn't for all the users. Picture a senior attorney striding into the office ready for battle, only to discover he's forgotten the most critical tool for modern lawyering. This story comes to us from No Flies on Fergie. While frustrating to my job, I genuinely admire one of my coworkers' attitudes. Long story short, I am a paralegal at a small law firm who was recently promoted to an IT liaison of sorts. Basically, I set up electronics and employees come to me to see if I can help with their problem. If I can't help, I tell them to call our IT company. The job came with a decent raise and a good reduction in billable hours, so I'm a fan. We have an older attorney, I'll call him Steve, who is amazing at his job and a genuinely good dude, but is just not someone who gets tech by any stretch. Steve comes to my office with his personal laptop, saying that he's had an issue with it for the past 4 months. His email hadn't updated on this laptop since December, which coincidentally was the last time I had reset his password. Since this was a simple password issue, I reset his password to something he could remember that was similar to his other passwords. Here's where the issue comes in. We require two-factor authentication. Steve, can I see your phone? I need it to log into your email. Phone? Yeah, remember those 6-digit codes they text you? I need those so I can log you in. Oh, I didn't think I'd need my phone today. I left it at home. I called the IT company and got some stuff bypassed long enough that we could sign him back in to his work computer and his personal laptop. But honestly, it hasn't left my mind since. I'm just so envious of someone, especially an attorney, who in 2025 just doesn't seem to care all that much about having their phone with them. Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called Disaster Plan. It says, in the days of flip phones, my boss suggested over and over that I should buy a cell phone. I replied that when I was on call on a weekend, I was always at home near my landline, and nights and weekends when I wasn't on call, he was not supposed to be calling me. But what if there's an emergency? He cried. The company could buy me a cell phone, then you could reach me in an emergency. Not in the budget, he said. Not in my budget either, I said. I had a cell phone the whole time, but never told anybody at work. Can we think about this for a second and think back a little while 30 years ago, walking around with a phone was the ultimate status symbol. Today, walking around without a phone is the ultimate status symbol. Oi, if you can just go through life and not worry about being connected, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. That doesn't work for somebody like me though, because my whole life is on the internet. Damn. Next up, a routine password reset spirals into a Friday afternoon saga you won't believe. This story comes to us from GamermanJ4. I'm honestly somewhat concerned for this user's memory. Got a pretty good one today that I'm not convinced is over, but I expect it to just be more of the same. I'll start by saying our company does not have a VPN. I'm not in love with that fact, as it does in part create today's issue. But that's not my choice, and other users don't struggle like this, so whatever. Of course, this means that if you forget your password, we can't help you get into the company laptop. The local account is a domain account, but at home you can't connect to the domain because no VPN. The few users we have who exclusively work from home just deal with it and do a really good job of not getting stuck out of their local account. Production apps are on RDP session anyway, so some even use personal devices. But this user does not work from home regularly. They've just been having some sort of temporary difficulty getting to the office. And of course, they forgot their password. This was yesterday. They have a personal device they can use. Somehow, I get them logged into RDP there. They seem to reset their password just fine, have them log out and back in to confirm. Don't hear from them for a while. Later on, my coworker speaks to them. They're going to be coming into the office today to connect to the Wi-Fi and fix their local account. They were able to get a ride or something. I help them again when they arrive. Somehow, their Wi-Fi drivers are just gone. Can't see even the option, no matter how many times it's rebooted. Strange, as when in the office, we use Wi-Fi a lot, so they should have noticed this issue themselves sooner. But whatever, plug in the Ethernet and install new Wi-Fi drivers, that's all sorted. Now, which password do I use? Generic from yesterday? No, it should be the password you set yesterday after that. You were able to reset when you were on the phone with me yesterday, right? User shrugs. So when I had you log out and back into the RDP session at the end, did you use the temporary password I gave you, or did you use the one you entered when looking at the password reset screen? User shrugs harder and stammers. Okay, never mind, let's just have you reset it now. Reset to generic again, tell them what it is, they log into the PC, they reset their password again, and finally, I have them switch to the guest network so RDP prompts them to enter password. Doesn't do this if on domain. That all works fine, so I have them reboot and relog into everything once more just to make sure and send them on their way. Not even 3 hours later, my coworker hears from them again. They have somehow again forgotten the password they just made, and they want to know if anyone will be in the office past 5 to help them again on a Friday. I have to feel like it's some kind of work avoidance thing, but also this user is notorious for being astoundingly problematic, so I have no idea. Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called Vector0. It says, I'm going to guess your organization has some pretty strict password complexity requirements, possibly to mitigate risks from having RDP openly accessible over the internet and not having a VPN available. This is exactly why cybersecurity standards discourage overly complex password requirements and frequent changes. Users are likely to make up a password that is difficult to remember, so they forget it, or worse, write it down on a sticky note. Whoever is responsible for your organization's IT infrastructure and or budget is the real idiot here. If you had a decent VPN, this wouldn't be an issue. Your organization is wasting a ton of time and resources on fixing avoidable user errors, and getting owned is probably only a matter of when, not if. That was one of the things that I really didn't like in a couple of the call centers that I worked in that had really high security protocols, and you had to change your passwords every 7 days in one of them. I went through so many different combinations that they were extremely difficult to remember, so yeah, you do end up writing them down, even though you're not supposed to. But it's really the only way to keep them all straight, especially when you have different passwords for all 5 of the programs that you have to log into. Picture an auditor who shrugs off every IT safeguard right up until her laptop flatlines and unleashes chaos across the firm. This story comes to us from Derek Wildstar1. Don't want to listen to IT? A great way to get fired. I'm sure this has been brought up before, but I'll share a fun story from about 10 years ago. Working in a medium-sized accounting firm in the big city, had an auditor who thought she knew everything about IT, simply because her husband worked for RIM BlackBerry. She was originally from Houston, and I don't care much for folks from down there. If you are a Houstonian, don't take too much offense. I'm sure you hate North Texas folks too. Anyways, she walks in with a laptop and says it will not boot up. Sure enough, got a message that cannot find OS. Give her a loaner lappy. Now we encrypt our laptops at that time with McAfee endpoint encryption. Pulled out the decrypting software and began to decrypt for the rest of the day to get safe boot off. Got it off right before 5 p.m. and sure enough, getting smart errors. Called her into the IT office the next day and told her that her hard drive was failing. Also discovered she was not saving files to the network drive. Her excuse? VPN is too slow, so I saved them to the hard drive. Yeah, I know it can be slow, but firm policy is you save everything to the network. I give her back Lappy and tell her to move those files to the server with the understanding that she will be using the loaner laptop for a while, and she needs to bring it back once the files are synced. After about 5 minutes, I got a hunch something wasn't right. Go to her cube, she's friggin' gone. Left the firm with an unencrypted laptop. She works with people's SSNs for heaven's sake. Drive is in imminent threat of mechanical failure. Next day she arrives, says machine will not load Windows. Yep, smart failure has reached its zenith. Drive is toast. Explain that to her. Next day, one of the partners asks me what happened. I explain all this crap. Found out she didn't sync a friggin' thing to the server, and now the firm must write down an additional 60 hours of time that is not billable because all the work has to be recreated. By the next day, she was gone. A senior auditor with tenure in the firm. Lesson here, not listening to IT can get you fired. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Hoochie Coochie Man. It says, awesome cautionary tale. My guess is that she was already a thorn in the sides of many others, and this was a pretty big last straw. But still, always heed the techies. OP responded and said, I got that impression too. What I didn't really understand is writing down 60 hours when billing out at $400 per hour eats into partner profits. Mess with people's money, you mess with their emotions. Canned. Well, fortunately this user didn't have unencrypted data for very long because the laptop self-destructed anyway, which was probably one of the best things that could happen in this situation before any of the crap hit the fan. OP, by reporting this, you probably made somebody on the management team incredibly happy because now they finally had a reason to fire her. Well, I think that's enough of people who are woefully inept with tech today. If you enjoyed these stories, make sure to give us a follow on your podcasting platform of choice. And if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. It really does help us out. I thank you for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.